I will start the round myself as Maria Inés Plaza Lasso, editor from Arts of the Working Class. I've been doing this paper for Arts and Society, Wealth and Poverty. It connects us to the fair through one single thing, that's the economy that we want to sustain, but that is one that is also equitable and accessible for everyone. Where my interests are shifting is how to tackle the questions that we're having today in this round within the institution. As from January 2023, I'll be head of communication and engagement of the Museum of Modern Art in Luxembourg. Voilà.
Yeah.
Anne.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Anne. I founded Office in Part together with Johanna Neuscheffer in 2018. We are a multi-dimensional space for contemporary art, and if we were asked if we are a gallery, we say yes too, because we really believe in the role of a gallerist, but we think that the structures could be, a lot. We can work on the structures, what a gallery could mean today, and this is what we're doing on different levels. And we have a space in Berlin, but we are doing projects all over and wherever we are. And of course, we're doing art fairs, but we're doing a lot of digital things because we're also working with a lot of digital artists, and we believe in the changing of the art market and the changing what also comes through the new technologies with blockchain and NFTs. And this is what we are up to. So we are to work with artists who has, like a position to the now, a position in our today, and it could be painting, but it could be also NFTs.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for having me today as the spokesperson of the Naked Room Kiev, a gallery based in Kiev in Ukraine. Unfortunately, Masha and Lisa, they cannot be here today. They are in Venice currently for last panel of discussions at the Venice Biennial. The Naked Room is representing Ukraine with Pavlo Makov there at the moment. And what do I like to say about the Naked Room? I think a very short introduction about the gallery itself, because the gallery is very young, just as young as your gallery is. Started in 2018, after Masha and Lisa have been working together as a curatorial duo for about 4 years. And you might, or you can imagine that the art market or the gallery spaces in Kiev, there are not that many galleries. I mean, there is one other here at the fair, Voloshin Gallery, but basically the gallery started from scratch, so to speak, with a very young roster of Ukrainian artists and with, so to speak, no art market at all. In that sense. So the mission here is for sure to bring visibility to these artists, and first and foremost the Naked Room was able to do so in Kiev, and now, as we all know, after the full-scale invasion of Russia, the two founders as well as many of the artists are debased, our goal for the time being, while we're all around the rest of Europe, is really to create more visibility and awareness of the artists, actually, and kind of anchor the artists, in other gallery programs, or also make them visible through exhibitions. And how do we do that? Through collaborations, in particular, with institutions and other galleries. And so we have been around quite a bit, as you can imagine. We have had 2 shows in in Vienna. We participated at Art Vilnius. There was the last day of another show in Berlin. In January, going to go into Paris. So collaboration is a key word for us for the next months to come, for sure. And another key word, of course, is to just really create this visibility also in a long-term sense. Because so far, I think, when we look back, there hasn't been really an awareness about those artists or for those artists. So that's basically that.
Okay. Okay, and where are your interests going towards? So I guess we will discuss this also further in the conversation.
Yeah, well, the point is really that because of the war, the planning is really almost like on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis. And the plans so far reach until March, and Masha and Lisa then hope that they can return to Kiev. And by the way, the space or the gallery itself in Kiev is open and running. We are not showing the program at the moment, but we are hosting the Wartime Art Archive, which is also, of course, essential to say. It's not closed, but it's really a meeting point still, and especially important for the community. So, sorry. So the plans are really, it's very hard to tell, we're going to be there in 1 year from now. So it really depends.
Thank you. Olga?
Hi, and I was told to hold microphone very close to my mouth. So my name is Olga Temnikova. I run Temnikova and Kassala. We are here at Neumarkt section N5. Come to see us. My gallery is 12 years old, so we are not exactly, we're supposed to be, I think, established, but we are still emerging, of course, internationally. So my main focus since I opened my gallery was giving more visibility for artists from the region, from Latvia, Estonia, Finland, internationally. But I think after the COVID crisis, I kind of thought, oh, why it has to be so hectic. It actually has been very supportive to be in Estonia, to do projects in Baltics, to collaborate with Scandinavian institutions, and to be honest, no matter that this is my 5th fair this year, I'm actually thinking that I could do a bit more local and have more impact after all the experience we've got of all the connections we've got internationally. And then along with that, of course, last year we had a great experience of big team collaboration on a big NFT collection, which we dropped in August 2021. So it was kind of very natural thing to do because of the people I know, and it really was very successful. The project was called Mutagen. You can look up Mutagen XYZ, and we dropped in the beginning of August. It was like over 4,000 tokens designed and created by artists and designers, and it sold out. The ETH was pretty high back then, so it was $1.5 million we made for our team. The team was big, and we mentioned everyone, not only the 4 artists we worked with. So it was a very interesting experience, especially to keep in mind I was deeply pregnant when we dropped. And now I have this is also what keeps me busy, I must say, and I'm trying to not only emancipate the East I represent, but also emancipate women and having family, actually. When I told my colleague from New York that, I'm having a second baby, she said, oh, I didn't know that galleries can have 2 kids. And I was like, what? But it's true, it's hard. I mean, if you want to do 5 fairs, it is very, just to say the least, expensive, not only nerve-wracking, but... So this keeps me busy. What else? There was something, but maybe it will pop up.
Will come later.
Maybe... Thank you so much for this first notes on where you're standing now, not only here in Cologne, but also in terms of what keeps you busy within the art market. I wanted to start the conversation by looking into pre-pandemic working conditions, to go to post-pandemic state of affairs for each one of you, to end up with a question very clearly on the blockchain and how crypto and the streams of, let's say, other economies and other forms of sustainability have come about and flourished within your work. And since I think you 3 can give certainly 3 completely, but very close, completely different and yet close experiences about it, I would like to start from there. And I would like to start from there because yesterday I heard at the Future of Critique Congress NFT rest in peace. That sounded very polemic, but maybe this is not true, and maybe you could
Maybe,
also say where is it still alive, or
Actually, I think it's really the question from which side you're looking on it, because I really believe in digital art. Digital art is it's the same level like painting or sculpture, and of course it will stay. That's no question. It exists since the 50s or 60s, and it develops, of course, with the technology. So this will stay, and if we will sell it in the next 5 years, still like NFTs, I think nobody knows. But digital art will be alive, sure.
so? But also looking at NFTs not only as a material of production, but rather a channel of production. How do you see any dichotomies on that happening today, or?
Yes, of course, there are a lot of things that changing, and the changings are so fast, and sometimes if you don't look at Twitter every half an hour, so maybe you miss some things, and of course there will be a lot of changing still, but also the blockchain, the idea of blockchain is something what I think will change our world, our art industry, how the artists maybe also do art, how the whole economy will change. I think this has a huge impact, and this is at the moment really, how to say, like maybe for a smaller group of people who really work on it and understand it, but this will come in the future for sure on a much more wider level. Yeah.
Olga, from a feminist perspective, what is the present of NFTs?
Well, I think when we had our pre-talk, Kate said, is that NFT is like a painting or something, which is supposed to be like dying all the time, and then...
Exactly.
But, okay, NFT, well, first of all, it's a marketplace, kind of, and then you can call it a medium, and I think it really offers a lot, so... I mean, now it's crypto winter, so it's of course hard to be super optimistic. But I guess it will not go anywhere. It's just yeah. I mean, it's very inspiring community, I think, which is being built. I'm not so sure that flipping as the symbol of the future, which they've been raving about. I'm calling the crypto collectors. They were quite proud of the flipping aspect of this market, and I think now a lot of people understand that flipping is still really bad for any type of market. So this is being reassessed right now. But yeah, I have no doubt. And I mean, I used to work for an auction house in Estonia, say 2005, and usually how the auction would look like. Of course, it had a lot of like impact in educational way, so people would come and buy their first artwork, and it would be very buzzy. It would be like room full of people, stuffy. People like drink their cognac and eating little sandwiches. And just like a couple of months ago, I was passing by one of the auction houses where I'm not connected to anymore, and I see that auction is on and room is empty. 2 people, I'm not lying, 2 people there. And then I see the results and it's bombastic, it's like sold out. So all these people, there is new generation in who is sitting at home with their sports clothes on and they're buying art. I don't think that for them that matters that much if it's digital or physical, but it's a strongest generational shift right now. We all feel it. And yeah, it's there to stay.
I think as well what we have to think about is the terms of the digital ownership, because this is really what the next generations are really different maybe than to mine, because I'm beginning of 40 and I'm not like a computer gamer, but when you see the younger generations, so this is really a new habit in a way, so it's totally normal to own things just online. And this feeling is also, I felt it myself when we bought our first digital pieces as NFTs. It's enough to know to have it and to have it in the wallet, and I don't have to have them on the wall. But this is really what I think makes the huge shift now, the feeling of a digital ownership, or the, how to say, the Selbstverständnis, so that it's totally normal to own things just digital, yeah.
Johanna, has it meant for the Naked Room a certain kind of political decision also to use NFTs at the moment? Or?
We are not using NFTs, so
Okay.
that's yeah.
So it hasn't been a consideration. It hasn't been a consideration.
But it has, yeah, because we have a different set of priorities for now, or have had actually. But what is also very important to say when we talk about, shift in generations in terms of also collectors, but it has nothing to do with NFTs. I think that the Naked Room has successfully, based a foundation, particularly, with young collectors back in Kiev and in Ukraine. So, because for them, it's actually a surprise when they talk with other galleries, and many galleries still say that we make most money at fairs, and for them actually it was the other way around, because they haven't participated in that many fairs as of now. Actually, this year was supposed to be the year of kind of breakthrough and come about, and so on. But NFTs, of course, it is or will be, I'm sure, a topic, and I'm also, but that's actually a personal stance that I'm sure that it's here to stay. You can't ignore it away, actually. So,
talking about post-pandemic conditions in way how the role of galleries and the collaboration between galleries and artists has shifted. The Naked Room sees an internet investment group joining this year as a form of support or collaboration. Can you tell us a little bit about that form of community or communal understanding of the economy surrounding the gallery, or forging the gallery into another direction?
Into a direction, I mean, there are still, of course, all the curatorial decisions and also all the artistic decisions are being made by Maria and by Lisa, that's for sure. But it's just as I already mentioned, it's like the gallery space itself, but it's really the physical gallery space was created actually to become like a community center, and I think that it's like the extension of the family, and it's very logical that especially or for younger people and younger also investors or younger partners that they come have that kind of background, and it's very natural to kind of have that kind of partnership, and let's see where it will take us in the future. That's going to be very interesting. But speaking of like collaborations, actually in general, that's also where we just touched upon on Thursday in our prior short discussion, that the openness in terms of like collaboration or collaborative practices, has been there before the pandemic, but I think that it was accelerated because of the pandemic, and also what we also discussed very briefly was that this has also something to do with a generational shift here, in terms of like the willingness or openness towards different forms of partnerships is there. It's tangible actually in that generation.
Also, beyond age groups, our relation to physical space has shifted, whether we want it or not, in different ways. So maybe Anna and Olga, how has the relation to your curatorial and your gallery work shifted? If I can call curatorial work the way you deal with or you work together with the artists in your space, how has it shifted? Also because Office Impart didn't start necessarily with a space.
Exactly.
So how that physical notion of the exhibition has shifted for you so far?
Will you start, Olga?
Yeah, I think we opened the gallery and we didn't have a space, but we did an art fair. That's how it was 12 years ago. But right now, I think our space is quite important, and it was there to stay. We are, of course, moving all the time, and we are thinking of extending and doing pop-ups and being more fluid, because I think, like, say, 10 years ago, when you heard, Sadie Coles is opening in Hong Kong, that would be like, whoa. And now everyone understands it's very flexible. You follow the market, you try new locations, you try new models. I'm not a big fan of real estate in general, like all these like solid extensions, but we are flirting with the idea of doing things a bit differently and getting on the new territories. And of course, I mean, with Instagram and bigger digital impact, we all understand that our program is a bit more present internationally, and of course, like the documentation becomes very important, and we do digitalize our exhibitions quite often when it makes sense. Like some exhibitions are really great to like have in 3D, for instance. Not all of them, but sometimes it just works as photos. So in that sense. Yeah, I mean, in general, I think also together with the sad, it's really a bad word, I think, not enough, like what's going on between Russia and Ukraine or Russia and Europe right now is also helping, I think, bringing to focus art from those regions. And I think it's I mean, it's really sad that it's happening now, but I'm happy that it's happening, and I'm hoping it's there to stay. I hope we all understand how small Europe is and how we really don't know each other. And I think like Baltic states or all these neighboring countries becoming a buffer between comfortable Central Europe and Russia, how we take this huge pressure and risk on, how it could be appreciated. Yeah, maybe I would like to talk about that, how it should just become more visible, and maybe we could get some appreciation.
Yes. I mean, we are also dealing with outreach and presence all the time, right? As there is a form of contentism at the moment, that it goes also beyond the different coordinates that make an exhibition or a koya or a booth completely different than it was before. I mean, accelerating the gaps between the digital and the physical. Maybe you can contradict me here, but
yeah. Sorry, what do you mean by accelerating the difference, actually, in that sense? Because
let's take the ART Cologne as an example. We are in a setting that feels pre-pandemic. It's a space that is curated according the size of the galleries, the program of the gallery, and the different levels. And we see, but the size of the fair has shifted. And also the presence of, let's say, the blockchain or other forms of dealing with the economies, also sustaining the art market as we know it, are not necessarily present. So how to make that visible beyond the very individual channels that are also circulating within and around the fair?
I think it needs a little time. I think because it's, of course, I would love to see more digital pieces, but there are a lot of changes happening all over, and we start to think about the changes already, what you say before, really with our founding in 2018, because for us it was really clear, we come from this traditional art market, we worked before over 10 years in it, and it was clear that we really believe in the role of a gallerist as a mediator in between all the different actors in the art market, but I don't necessarily have to do it in the same structures as everybody else. And so we started without a space, we started with Instagram, it took us a year to have a website, and we do shows wherever, and we build up a newsletter where we do every week we send out recommendations to other shows and projects, because we really believe in community, we believe in collaboration and bringing networks together. And I think this was really hard in the first 1.5 years to explain that we are a gallery but without a space, and that we are doing things differently, but still we are not an online gallery. So it was really hard. Then it was Corona came, and the people came to us and said, this is what you mean when you are talking about digital things and seeing. And like, yes, exactly. This is what we believe in, and that you can break up some structures and borders, and that you can still be a gallery doing shows, working with artists, but not always in this kind of same in the same ways. And I think all of the roles changed around us. The role of the artist is different than 5 years before or 10 years before, because they are also visible, they are so reachable for everybody. And of course, this level between a gallerist and an artist is a different one, like what the relation between each other. And this is cool. But it takes, of course, time to that everybody accepts this, everybody feels it, everybody find new ways to work with it. And when we see it now here, there's not really maybe 2 digital or maybe 5 digital artists on the whole fair. And it's a way to build the bridges, and this is something what we also try to work on for the future, and we will talk maybe later on it. This is what we really see our role, and we are the mediators, and it needs to be, these people are needed to, the crypto world also is very open, and they want, of course, also to be shown, they want to be contextualized, they want to be shown in museums, but they are in a way also very close, and they also have to build up their world, and so this is, it takes time, I think.
But isn't it ironic that it takes time and not in times of acceleration?
But I think what you might mean, it takes time, that when we look back at the beginning of the COVID crisis, so to speak, everyone was super nervous and devastated, and then, kind of experimental phase started, and what we have not seen before, like for example what you mentioned, that you see that the auction room is empty, that auctions actually successfully happen, online, and other things also happen online, and also galleries and other institutions actually invest more in their presence online. And this sounds a little bit awkward in that sense that, oh yeah, but you do have a website, that's the average, and it's so normal. But I think that in the traditional art world, I think that the presence in terms of like the gallery space and the fairs and so on was much more important in relation to, those kind of really actually daily or average outputs, so to speak. And I think the openness towards that has gotten bigger, but now what we see actually that galleries, they wanted to do only 2 or 3 fairs back, 2 years ago, because they saw maybe, we should invest in other things and so on. But now they are again doing 8 fairs a year, so that's maybe a step back. But I think the door opened towards that. The door is open now, and I think that I can agree in terms of like just an observation, from the outside, even though I'm not dealing actively with NFTs or the Naked Room. But I think that there's no going back. Actually, we're not closing the door towards that and accelerating. I mean, yeah, maybe we can have some patience actually in that sense, and we'll see, now in like 10 years it's going to be not a completely different story, but we're going to have a few improvements there, so to speak.
Yeah. Olga, how do you see it? What is your point of view to the factors that would also bring closer together the digital and the physical spaces in which art is circulating?
What was it? Kenny Schachter was saying that we are trying to build bridge between digital collectors and physical collectors, and we have to build a bridge into the future. So this build into this bridge, we will maybe meet on that bridge. I like talking about the art fair format and why digital is not so present. I think it's just catering to a particular audience. And but it's still being a forum for people to meet and exchange, and I think this layer is very important there. And I mean, Cologne is, let's see, I mean, the fact that Naked Room girls couldn't participate via Zoom in this panel also says something about how this is being operated, but otherwise, I mean, some things take time, some things, I mean, I don't know. I mean, for me, fair is definitely very backwards format, and but then again, all the crypto people are meeting so many times physically per year. Like, there are so many forums for this audience, and they find it important to meet in person still. So So I don't know, will Art Cologne will invest into bringing these people in, and I think it could be cool, actually. I mean, I've just curated a couple of shows within last year where I included, like, one would be just an NFT exhibition, other would be an exhibition of collections from Baltics, and one of them was crypto collection. And it brought this type of collecting to attention among, like, real art collectors, and we've found some new people, and I see how crypto audience reacts to physical presence of the NFT in this space, and it's very sensitive and very grateful and very stimulating. So I think it should be done more. I think it's definitely worth it. Like, we have a lot of investment being made by Art Cologne into education. So, like, the amounts of tours passing by the stand is enormous. So I think they could shift some of those budgets towards crypto education. That would be good, I think.
I mean, what you also saw, like with the auction house, like with Christie's in particular, I mean, they have done it successfully, right? This kind of shift, or this hybrid model they are running.
It's funny, auctions are much faster than the galleries. Like, I'm part of IGA.
Surprisingly.
And IGA recently sent out the email saying that we've been inquiring into this crypto, and, you know, what we would say to our members, we don't yet recommend you to join any platform. And I'm like, okay. That's a great advice. Like,
point aside that the marketing of Christie's is unbeatable, not only as an auction house, but also in creating this kind of icons or maybe tokenization of art, of the artworks themselves. Would be interesting to. I would like to jump actually to a rather more pressing topic, and that would be the term crisis, that it's also on the top of our heads, literally, and look into this binary logic of the digital, the physical, and to look at the let's say into a bridge to the present, and that would be to see the impossibility of keep on dealing with art fairs or the placement of galleries the same way as we are looking at them now, and at the same time the necessity to keep on going for a market that is sustaining thousands of lives, even though it's still a significantly small bubble. I would like to ask you, how do you see yourself dealing with that shift, beyond the time that it will take to come to a certain point, the kind of compromises that are being taken? What measurements would you desire to be taken for this shifts to be more clear, let's say, clear in the meaning that if political incidents or political responsibility is not only presented, let's say, peripheral to the booth, like, for example, the work of Lesia Komenko being presented here as a sign of, not only solidarity, but also consciousness about the war in Ukraine. What would be a political decision-making on a micro scale that would allow us to go out of this idea that crisis is only something that it's being mediated, as if we would be conflict junkies scrolling through the Instagram, and one time being in Afghanistan, one time being in Iran, one time being in Ukraine? What would be actually a consistent way of bridging into the crisis that we're all speaking about into the practices that we are, with the tools that we are creating, with the tools that we have in our hands, for and through the arts, just on a micro scale? I hope the question
This is a really huge question.
wasn't too loaded.
Olga.
I think it's really a huge question, and of course everybody has a daily life, and I think everybody from us try to do best of it and be aware what's happening. And of course, you are working with the artists as we try to do, working with artists who has as I said, a position to the now. And of course, you're discussing a lot, you're showing the art, and of course there are other topics around like sustainability in the art world. So like we are part of a group called GCC, Gallery Climate Coalition, which was founded in London, and we are talking a lot about what could every gallery do to work on this topic, to reduce the CO2 emission or whatever. And it's not so easy because, of course, you have to be in the market and you have to work and you have to travel, but still there are things what you can do and to be aware of it. And this is what we try. But of course, it's I think the best thing is to be aware, to try to do the things as much as you can, and to work with people and to be open. And in the end, I think, and we feel this, if you have no crisis as a company, you do something wrong. So I really believe in crisis. You know, not the huge one, but like to work on yourself, to be aware, to change, to be open, and to go further.
Yeah, not to stop, actually. That's that. I mean, for us, or for the Naked Room, it's also a mode of survival in that sense, or survival of culture, also creating, space or being visible, actually, being not forgotten, so to speak. It's like a basic, not instinct, but really a necessity, actually. So, and this is really something we are going, of course, to push forward, not stopping with this, and also in daily life.
Well, for me, I think it's all about, like, the contemporary tools give us opportunity to meet digitally and so on. Like, so being part of IGA was quite inspiring, because galleries, thinking galleries, active galleries, smart galleries can get together in their free time and actually think about where we are with the market, with state of arts, and what can be done. So I think the main thing is that we have to keep this dialogue going, and this could take us to the future. I want art to be, and it should have been, and that's how we position ourselves throughout ages, that we are like sort of better version of society. Like we try to do our research, we try to open up some painful areas, and I think it's been quite like, due to market being so prevalent, due to lack of dialogue, due to lack of actually knowing each other. Like, once, me coming from Eastern Europe, I would still say I was like named by a British gallery, I was named white supremacist. Like, once when I mentioned that, oh, I didn't know that this is an artist of color, because I just saw the works, and we were talking, and she's like, well, you're white supremacist, that's why you don't know. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm coming from Eastern Europe. Yes, thank you. Very interesting. And the same, like, superficial situations were like showing up when we started doing NFTs. So like somehow all of artists were suddenly specialists on the ecological impact of crypto, and no one was actually trying to figure out like how blockchain works, and if we really add up, and maybe Instagram could be even worse for the ecology, then, well, thank God there is Ethereum too now, so it's like question is off, but it's been like so superficial. And I mean, we really have to, and again, we just really have to hear all the parts of all the conflicts, and get together and show example for the people. And this is what I think will bring us to the future. And thank God we've got Zoom and other good good tools. So let's keep on talking and analyzing, and let's not give that much power to art fairs as well. We are like, this is just an art fair. We are discussing like, oh, why ART Cologne is not, I mean, what? So, but there is so much more than that.
Well, to celebration, there is always criticality. So thank you all so much for this small but consistent insights into your current practices. I would like to open maybe to the public if there are any remarks or questions before we give space to the ADKV prize ceremony coming up. It has been a cozy 45 minutes. Thank you so much, Anne, Johanna, and Olga for this conversation.
Thank you.
And all the best to you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thanks.